Santosh Mishra ji is alumni of IIT Kanpur, and he is 2000 batch IAS officer, Tamil Nadu cadre. But before joining IAS, he was working. He did his masters from Minnesota University, and he was working with a tech company in US. But the call from the motherland brought him here, and he was the topper of that batch. But he wanted to work in the hinterland, so he took Tamil Nadu as a cadre, joined there, and did phenomenal work in many fields. But most of you are reading about blockchain technology. So when it was coming up in India, he is instrumental for implementing the biggest blockchain implementation in the world in Tamil Nadu. And single-handedly, he was recognized for his work in digital revolution bringing to the state. So apart from that, his love for the country is known to anybody who is known Santosh Mishra ji, and we are very fortunate to have him here. So without much further ado, we can start with the session with Sir. Very welcome, Sir, to Sankalp again. And one more thing, we would be having his guidance during the course of interview guidance program 2-3 times. So this is first of the session, and let's just start with the session. I request all of you to switch on your cameras and put your mics on mute unless you have something to ask, or when the speaker asks you to unmute yourself and ask something.
So, namaskar Sukriti ji, Santosh ji, and सभी आज जितने लोग सिविल सेवा की परीक्षा देने वाले सभी परीक्षार्थियों, तो thank you for a very generous and kind of hyperbolic introduction. I think we all did our bit whenever what we did, so it's a pleasure to be here. तो usually how we begin is, अब ये पहली बार ऐसा हो रहा है कि हम ऑनलाइन कर रहे हैं. नॉर्मली ये फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल हमारी बात अच्छे से सुनाई दे रही है? ऑडियो इज परफेक्टली ऑल राइट? बिल्कुल. तो नॉर्मली तो ये क्लास फिजिकल होती है और उसमें आप सबसे प्रत्यक्ष रूप से मिलने का, बात करने का अवसर मिलता है. तो वो उसमें जो ऊर्जा और जो भी आदान प्रदान होता है वो बहुत अलग स्तर का रहता है. आई थिंक नाउ इसके कारण हमें थोड़ा सा इसीलिए शायद बार बार सुकृति जी कैमरा ऑन करने की बात कर रही हैं ताकि सभी लोगों का कम से कम चेहरा दिखता रहे. तो जब हम प्रत्यक्ष ये सेशन करते हैं तो सबसे पहले हम जो मैं करता था और उससे फायदा भी होता है, वो ये है कि एक तो हम आपको एक मोनोलॉग दे दें और जो हमने बोलना है वो बोल दें, और आप जो भी आपको उचित लगे उतना नोट्स ले लीजिए या जो भी है, और उसके बाद आप वो सेशन समाप्त हो जाए. तो उसका हम उल्टा करते थे और यहाँ भी हम कोशिश करेंगे. अब कैसे कर पाएंगे ऑनलाइन में थोड़ा सा कठिन होगा, बट सुकृति जी की सहायता से हम कोशिश करेंगे. तो हम ये सामान्य हम ये पसंद करते हैं और हमारा ये प्रयास रहता है कि हम जो बात करें आपसे, जो हम कहें वो ऐसा हो जिसकी आपको, जो आपसे संबंधित है, और जिस चीज का उत्तर आपके मन में है कि काश ये चीज का अगर मुझे उत्तर मिल जाता तो शायद मेरी इंटरव्यू की तैयारी इससे बेहतर हो जाती. तो मेरा सबसे पहले आप सबसे अनुरोध है, और ऐसे में मैं क्या करता हूँ कि क्लास में एक व्हाइट बोर्ड ले लेता हूँ. तो सवाल काफी सारे आते हैं, जैसे अगर इस समय 36 लोग हैं, सबने 40 लोग हैं, सबने अगर 2-2 सवाल भी पूछे तो 80 सवाल हो जाते हैं. तो 80 सवालों के उत्तर को हम 8 या 10 मुख्य कैटेगरीज में डिवाइड कर लेते हैं, और फिर वो एक एक कैटेगरी का, या जैसे जो एक जैसे सवाल होते हैं उनको इकट्ठा करके उस सवालों के समूह का एक साथ उत्तर दे देते हैं. तो उससे कई सारे लोगों को फायदा होता है. तो सुकृति जी अगर ये ठीक लगे तो मेरे ख्याल से इसका प्रयास कर सकते हैं. हालांकि ये ऑनलाइन में थोड़ा कठिन जरूर है, लेकिन तो हम ये चाहेंगे कि हम सभी अगर अपने प्रश्नों को बारी बारी से, जिनको प्रश्न पूछने हैं पहले तो आप वो इसमें हैंड रेज का ऑप्शन होता है वो यूज करें, तो उसके बाद सुकृति जी उसमें से क्रम से लोगों को एक एक करके आमंत्रित कर लेंगी, अपने अपने फिर आप सवाल पूछ लें और हम उसको लिखते जाएंगे साथ में। तो उससे मुझे एक 10-15 ऐसे टॉपिक्स या ऐसे विषय मिल जाएंगे जिनका उत्तर हम देंगे तो आपको सबसे ज्यादा लाभ हो सकेगा। एटलीस्ट आपके लाभ होगा या नहीं ये तो भगवान ही बताएगा, बट एटलीस्ट ये जरूर रहेगा कि उनसे आप जोड़ सकेंगे, आप उन सवालों के उत्तर में आपकी रुचि बनी रहेगी। तो क्या ये ठीक है पद्धति? ठीक है, तो सुकृति जी ने उसकी अनुमति दे दी है। तो मैं ये चाहता हूं कि आपके मन में सिविल सर्विसेज को लेकर या सिविल सर्विस परीक्षा को लेकर या अपने इंटरव्यू को लेकर जो जो सवाल आपके मन में कि काश कोई मुझे ये बता देता कि ये चीज मैं कैसे लिखूं, या ये चीज मैं कैसे कहूं, या अगर ऐसा पूछा जाता है तो मैं उसका क्या उत्तर दे सकता हूं, क्या ये मेरा जो चयन है सिविल सेवा के प्रथा के रास्ते पर चलने का। बिफोर दिस इज एवरीबडी कंफर्टेबल इन हिंदी, या हिंदी ना समझने वाले भी कुछ लोग हैं? देयर आर फ्यू पीपल हु डू नॉट अंडरस्टैंड हिंदी वेल. Please raise your hand if you don't understand Hindi well. एक है अनुपमा जी. अनुपमा जी, she is saying that she is not very comfortable. और कोई है नीचे क्या? नहीं. So Anupama ji, I'll try to be sort of bilingual. Hopefully that should be okay. So now you can lower your hand so that it doesn't get mixed up with the question hand. So thank you. So now, if we can start asking those questions which you have in your mind, which you wanted to ask, which you needed help in preparing an answer to, please formulate your question. Raise your hand that I want to ask this question, and mind you, I'll be taking notes, so you may have to be a little slow, or I'll stop you wherever I need to stop you, and then I'll try to make groups of similar topics and common subjects, common threads, and take up during the next 30-35 minutes. I'll try to cover all your questions using those threads. So that's the methodology we are going to follow. Is that okay? Meanwhile, if you have any questions, any suggestions regarding this, please feel free to type it in the chat box. I will try and see that. So part one of this, if you can raise your hands and ask your questions one by one. When first you raise your hands, then Sukriti ji will call your name up, and then you please ask your question. And I'll as I said, I'll take notes. And then once I have a good set of about 30-40 questions, I'll try to combine them into threads, and those threads I will answer. Is that okay? So let's begin. Kindly raise your hands, whoever has something to ask. Okay.
Rohan
So
Tiwari.
since there is only one hand, okay, do hain, so there is no competition, I guess. So Sukriti ji,
Yes.
your.
Okay, so we'll start with Rohan Tiwari, then Rishabh.
And once you ask your question, please lower your hand so that the thing gets removed. So once you are called upon to speak, please lower your hand.
Rohan, please go ahead. Rohan Tiwari.
Good evening, sir. So my question is that it is asked.
पहले तो आप रोहन अपना हाथ नीचे कर लें.
Sure, sir.
हाँ.
So my question is that it is sometimes asked that you have graduated from this X college or done this degree in your course. So why are you willing to join civil services? Don't you think that?
No, so why do you say X? Why don't you be specific? What do you exactly want to ask? Yeah.
Sorry, sir. My question is that this question is asked that you have graduated from IIT Kanpur. It is such a prestigious college. So why are you joining civil services?
Yeah, so this is like a question which every year, engineer, wastage of engineering skills, etc.
Yes.
Engineers to IAS, professionals to IAS, right? I'll club this question, I'll generalize it. Professional to IAS. Okay, good. Thank you. Sukriti ji, next one, please.
Is Rishabh. Rishabh, could you switch on your camera? Or unmute
That's
yourself.
okay if you are in the bathroom or something and you don't want to turn on your camera, that's all right.
No, sir. Actually, internet is little bit slow, so that's why
ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं, बिल्कुल, आप just. I was
So,
just.
sir, sir, I have 4 questions.
You have 4 questions or you have a?
I have 4 questions to ask.
4.
Yes, sir.
हाँ, पूछिए 4 सवाल पूछिए.
First of all is that there are situation-based question, like if you are SP or DM. So if any politician pressurize you that do not arrest some criminals or that, so what will you do in this situation? How to answer?
ठीक.
Second thing is many times if we are not know any answer question that we have to frame answer at that time, then can we ask them to take a few seconds or generally take a pause of how many seconds? That is okay for interview panel. Third thing is that mostly I heard from toppers interview video on YouTube that interview is mostly 95% selection depend on confidence and sparkness on your face. So how to maintain this?
Okay.
Fourth thing is I have done graduation and after that I have started preparing for this service. So it take me this is my 4th attempt. So how to answer this question that what are you doing after graduation? Just only preparing or something else?
Okay.
That's all, sir.
Right. Thank you.
Next,
Thank you,
Dr. Gurusimrat. Dr. Gurusimrat?
Yes, good evening. I had 2-3 questions to ask. So my first question is, I'm an MBBS doctor from Punjab. So, and my first preference is Indian Police Service. I'm already a DENIPS officer in 2021. Sir, they ask why IPS is first preference after MBBS. Government has spent so much on your seat, etc. So how to go about it?
It's the same question which someone else asked about the
as engineer to IAS, but my specific is why after MBBS as IPS. So what I answer is
the same thing. I mean, it's the same thing. A professional going into IAS. Yes.
Yes, sir. Second question is, they asked also in my last interview, what specific things you will do when you enter civil services?
Okay.
So, and that's very specifically. And so third question is like situational based. If you are an SP of a district, how will you control the law and order situation in Punjab specifically? As recently there was a surge in law and order issues in Punjab.
So what's so specific about Punjab? Sabhi jagah ka law and order ek hi jaisa hai na?
Sir, because law and order issues are rising in Punjab as per in Amritsar, Kotapura firings, etc.
That is your that religious book burning and all that.
So sacrilege issues as such, and also gangster issues, killings of the killing of a singer called Moosewala, and Amritsar firing case, many cases recently.
Right.
Ask specifically what will you do specifically of to law and order in Punjab?
Okay, right.
Fourth is the choosing of optional subject. Like my optional is literature of Punjabi language. So why did you choose optional as Punjabi literature? So
why
these
did
are
you?
my
Okay,
Punjabi
right.
literature as, yes. Sir.
Okay, fine. ठीक है. और बताइए. Right. I mean, next. Yeah.
Thank you.
Somebody named Galaxy on next. I don't know the name.
Galaxy साहब आप पूछ सकते हैं या साहिबा.
No, he's gone. Okay, Sahil, please ask your question. Sahil. Okay, Rohit Kumar Gaurav, please ask your question.
No question specifically.
But your hand is raised, so if you don't have a question, just lower it, please.
Rohit doesn't have question. Sahil doesn't.
Yeah, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
My question is that they usually ask that what skill set as a engineer, or I have done engineering and MBA. So what skill set as an engineer and MBA graduate you will bring to the civil services?
Okay. So it's kind of connected to the first question which was asked.
Prakhar also has a question. Prakhar Ranjan. Then Kalyan. Prakhar, please ask your question.
Good evening, sir. Sir,
Good evening.
I appeared for the interview last year, this year as well, but recently I've taken up a job, and this was after a hiatus of almost 3 years. So suppose I appear for the interview, and if they ask me the question, whether have you given up hope on the civil services or not, and why have you taken up a job so recently, what will I answer?
Okay. Which attempt is yours?
This is my, so this will be my 4th attempt.
Job on 4th attempt. What should
No,
be your...
I was previously working. I've taken up a job again. So, but this is after a gap of almost 2.5 years.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Kalyan, please ask your question. Kalyan, you have typed in the chat box also. Kalyan?
Yes, ma'am. I have typed in chat box.
If you want to ask.
Good evening, sir. Sir,
Good
actually,
evening.
I have been working in NTPC since 2016, and due to that, I could spare very little time for myself, and so I have not been able to pursue anything at personal level for myself. So in such case, should I fill something in my hobby section, or can I leave it blank?
Hobby blank or what? Okay.
Next, Amit, please ask your question. Amit, unmute कीजिए.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Ask your question, Amit.
हाँ सर, मेरा फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन एक ये है कि मैरिटल रेप पे क्या व्यूज होने चाहिए सर?
Why would they ask this to you?
सर अभी ये रिसेंट में न्यूज में चल रहा था पिछले 5 से 6 महीने, तो मैरिटल रेप पे क्या व्यूज होने चाहिए थे इनके सर पूछा जाता है तो.
So I will not call that. I will call your views on current affairs and current events. ठीक है?
Okay sir.
Right. Okay.
Kritika.
And ma'am, one more question. सर एक सेकंड क्वेश्चन ये है कि जैसे मुझे सर मेरा भी 5th अटेम्प्ट है सीरियस सर, तो एक क्वेश्चन ये पूछा जाता है कि आपने जो बीएससी मैथमेटिक्स मैंने सर की है ग्रेजुएशन में, तो उसमें आपने रिसोर्सेज वेस्ट किए हैं तैयारी करके, ये सारी एक क्वेश्चन ये भी आता है सर, तो इसमें क्या बोलना चाहिए सर?
क्या होता है
कि यू हैव वेस्टेड द रिसोर्सेज for 3 years after doing mathematics and you switch to the sociology optional.
Right. Okay.
जी sir. Thank you sir.
Okay, Sahil, please ask your question and then unraise your hand.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, sir. Sir, I have 2 questions to ask. The first one is regarding my hobby. So, sir, I like reading Bhagavad Gita. So, whenever I'm troubled, I usually read some sections of it, and I really find some peace in that. But I went through the questions of the previous aspirants. So, I'm afraid that I'm not very aware of the technicalities of various commentaries, various differences. So, sir, I'm skeptical about writing it or not, or the way to write it. How do I write it? Like, should it be reading or should it be application? That is my first question, sir.
Right. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Sir, my second question is, I gave the interview this year also, So my interview was on the early dates. I got a feedback from different panels that I need to smile and bring in more energy, but I was not able to work on it. How can I improve that, sir? What should I practice so I look serious when I answer the questions? That was what I got the feedback. So that is what I wanted
You
to
should be
ask.
serious while answering a question. So that was a earlier question. There was a question which said, confidence, smartness on your face is what decides this thing. So I'll add energy to that and I'll try to answer that.
Sure, sir.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll take a couple of more questions and then we'll close.
Okay, Kritika, Sanchit, and then Aditya. Aditya would be last question. Okay. Yeah, Kritika, please ask.
Good evening, sir. Sir, after the 5th iteration, I've been allocated Danix this time. And I wanted to know what is the extent to which I should be preparing for Danix specifically, and what should go into preparing about the service, because the training hasn't started yet.
Right. So how much should you know?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, next one, please.
Sanchit. Sanchit has a similar question, I guess.
Good afternoon, sir. I have two questions, sir. One is that I'm already allocated IRS IT in 2021, CSE 2021. Sir, both my questions are related to this. One is, if they ask me, I mean, why IRS IT is one of the good jobs. So why do you want to give the exam again? I mean, waste a seat kind of question. And the second one would be similar to what my previous participant asked, that I'll be joining the training most likely. So I'll be like 3-4 months into the training. So like how many questions can I expect from IRS IT?
Right.
Aditya, last question.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, sir. So I have two questions. So first one is, so how should we strategize our next 2-3 months, like till our interview date? Like what things should we keep in our mind regarding preparing for the interview? And sir, second question is about how to approach current affairs for interview specific content, sir. Like we have to, what data and what important things we have to keep in our mind, like while preparing for the current affairs and reading newspapers. That's true, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks. I think I got a fairly good set of questions. I hope these questions also represent this group in the sense that these will be relevant to all of you. So let me start from somebody said confidence, smartness on your face. How do we bring energy in interview? I have been given a feedback that when I answer, it's not with energy. So I think it's, again, please understand, and I think there's a handout on tricks and traps, which I had written long time ago, and then underwent some revisions also. There is some material which was picked up from the internet. Some is, of course, my own thoughts. So I think it will be good to go through it word by word. I mean, it's a very well written document. I mean, not because I have written it, but actually it makes a lot of difference if you carefully read it. I think sometimes we don't pay enough attention to what is written there. I think if you carefully read it, it will unlock a lot of doors for you, which have been probably hampering your progress. So please remember, this is an interview which is like a normal conversation. So somebody said, how do I bring in energy? So when you sit with your friends, when you sit with your family, when you are communicating with them, you are very involved in that communication. When you were asking question to me, you were very, very sincere in asking that question. That's the level of energy which is required. The problem is if you try to artificially infuse energy into your conversations, you will be called out. And it will be not possible to actually show that, pretend that you are having a lot of energy, whereas actually you are not interested in that conversation. And there is no question of you not being interested in the conversation. It's a matter of your career. So, I mean, unless you have been very, very, since you have all reached this stage, I don't think any one of you is casual. So I'm not really worried about it, but maybe what is happening is in the manner in which you speak, some of the people have this tendency of speaking extremely fast. So if that is your problem, please slow down. Some of you have this tendency of getting stuck in places, and possibly it is also because of language. So if English is not your preferred language and you're trying to answer a question in English, it will try to, it will show up, which is fine. I think, again, nothing wrong with that. Somebody asked, can I ask how much time do I take to frame my answer? So if you are not comfortable with the language, or if you have been asked a question which requires you to think a little bit, right? You just take you can even, I mean, if you need to pause for 20 seconds, there's nothing wrong. Ask them, can I take 15-20 seconds to frame my answer? And none of the board members, first of all, I think, please don't go by, so I just went, last week I was in UPSC. So I went to UPSC twice, one when I was, again, when I was out of service, before joining the service, and again I went after I have left the service, after joining. So both the times I went to UPSC after I was not part of IAS. So this time I had gone to meet one of the members of UPSC. She is a senior from my cadre and very a great person. So I just had gone to meet her, and I asked her one of the questions, because I had never been to UPSC in between. So I asked her why this room looks so small. I asked her, is this the room where the interviews happen, or you hold interviews in another room? She said, no, not in this room, very right room. The interviews are taking place, and the room is fairly small. But I remembered, I told her that I remembered having walked into a room which was very big. There were like big semicircular table with 5 people sitting and all that. And actually, if you look at it, the room was very small. And why I'm relating this anecdote is that because we are so anxious that everything appears magnified. So whether your concern, your anxiety, please understand, and all these boards, whatever you have heard of them, just discard them in a dustbin. I think that one thing which does a lot of damage is that, oh, wo board to bada kharab hai. Koi bhi board kharab nahi hai aur acha nahi hai, because it's like sun. If it is there, it is there. If it is not there, there is no point in complaining about it, right? You can't really do anything about the board. It has been allocated to you. So what's the point in going with a bias? Ye board acha hai ki wo board acha hai? Doesn't matter. Now, if you have been allocated a board, you're going to go there, you're going to face it to the best of your ability. There is no point in even, so sometimes less information in that sense is better. Things which are not in control, there is no point in even debating, posting your energy about it. In fact, if anything, if they say that the board is bad, the same board has interviewed the same person twice and gave dramatically different marks. So there is nothing called board. There is something called what you brought to the board. What is your personality? How did you answer the questions? So don't go with all those preconceived notions. I think this is one of the things I think it's written in that handout. While it is, there are variations in the board, but that's okay. I think at the end of the day, the system has been very fair. If it had not been fair, a lot of people like me wouldn't have been in. And I think many of you are in IRS, in DANIPS, in DANIX, and I'm sure the system has been fair to you, right? So I think getting extra conscious about yourself is not going to help. Have a sincere, friendly conversation and think from the board's perspective. They are there to select some good candidates in the civil services. That's a task which has been given to them, right? And they are evaluating you from that lens. And whether somebody said that I read toppers interview, confidence and smartness on your face. So you can't really produce a smartness on your face. There is no cream or there is no, lotion which you can just apply and you will look smart. It's not like that. I think the fact is that you're interested in the conversation. You're giving a well thought through answer. You are a young man or a young woman of modern age. There is so much of information available. You are going to join a service which drives policies for the whole nation, for the whole state. You need to be well read. You need to be well informed. And you are expected to have a very good amount of common sense. And all those questions which you asked, how much should I know about IRS IT? I have just joined, I haven't even started. Somebody asked about Danix. All that gets answered. What are and obviously because you have been selected in IRS IT, chances of them asking, you should know about IRS, you should know about customs, you should know about Indian Railways, you should know about power, you should know, a young man of your age or a young woman of your age is expected to read and understand the current affairs of the country. What's happening, and not only in the country, but around the world. What's happening in G20? G20 summit has been hosted in Andamans, Russia-Ukraine war, German pipelines, green hydrogen, electric vehicle, the prices of LNG have come down now by almost 50%. So whatever you see and experience about your environment, climate change, of course, and then all the SDGs, Corona, COVID, international relations, all those is expected for a smart, young woman or a man of good intelligence. It is expected that you would be curious about it. So you need not, if you have chosen foreign service as your first preference, and you say that I can't analyze Russia-Ukraine war in depth, that could be an alarm bell for you. But if you have chosen IAS as a first choice, and if you say that I don't understand what district administration does, then that's a big problem. So areas where if you have been allotted IRS IT, you should know a little more about IRS than rest of your peers or rest of your colleagues, because now that you have been allocated, naturally you would get curious, you would read about it, so you are expected to know a little more. Obviously they don't expect you to understand the Income Tax Act and all provisions of it, or they are not going to debate whether export credit guarantee scheme is good or bad. Again, that's possible, that that's a policy decision which can come up for discussion. But I'm saying you don't have to know the nuances and grievances, what is written down value or what is the depreciation methodology, unless you are an accountant. If you have been a chartered accountant, probably they will ask you, but otherwise you are not expected to. So does that answer this set of questions on confidence, smartness on your face, and how much should I know about my existing services? People who ask those questions, would you care to respond?
Yes, sir, I get your points.
Okay. So that was bucket number one. And we can debate and discuss a little more if the time permits later on. But this is the first thing. So you should know everything which a young woman or a young man should know. Aware person who reads daily newspapers and is abreast of happenings inside the country, inside the state, and around the globe is expected to know, right? Then there was a big chunk of questions which had come about that I have done IIT, I have done MBBS, I have done, I've been BSc Mathematics, and it is my 5th attempt. What do you think? Are you wasting government's money? Well, I mean, if that was the feeling with the government and the policymakers, they won't allow IITians to appear in the examination, right? I mean, what prevents from UPSC from saying that, sorry, IIT, if you have done IIT and you're going to waste your money, government money into this, you can't write IIT, you can't write civil services. Same thing with MBBS. Obviously, they don't discourage that. And because within the civil services, they need diversity. They need people who understand field of mathematics. They need people who understand geography. They need people who understand engineering. They need people who understand health. They need people who understand education. They need people who understand philosophy. So any service or organization becomes as rich as its constituents are. And you are going to be a constituent of that entire civil services apparatus. And if the more diversity, if you understand, and I don't know why engineers get really worried about it. Today, nothing moves without technology. You know, your food moves on technology. Your vehicles, and Olas and Ubers and entertainment and whatnot. I mean, everything moves on technology today. I think you all use technology to apply for the UPSC exam. I mean, earlier times when we wrote civil services, we had to this एम्प्लॉयमेंट एक न्यूज आता था एक अखबार, उस अखबार में पूरा फुल पेज का विज्ञापन होता था, एक साइड में उसका पूरा वो रहता था डिस्क्रिप्शन ऑफ द सर्विसेज, एक्सपेक्टेशंस, एग्जाम पेपर्स, पैटर्न्स, स्कोरिंग एक्सेट्रा. On the right side full page there was a form. So we used to actually take that, cut that form, fill that up, and we had to physically submit it. So obviously you can't move today without technology. So I think an engineer in civil services is a natural thing. I think there's today AIMS server has been hacked, right? I mean, 2 days ago, remember? Now they are still not able to rectify that. There's a ransomware, and they have locked the whole system. I believe there is a ransom demand. They are trying to set up backup servers, but still it's not working. So every government system, your power systems, your train systems, your atomic power systems, your armies, navies, and air forces, they all are electronic. They all are driven by computers. They are all driven by network of computers. And anytime a network of computer is connected to the internet, it becomes vulnerable. And that's why they have these private nets and VPNs under which they all work. So again, I hope that bucket gets clarified. Professional engineers, MBBS, etc. Those who asked that question.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Also, it also answers the question. Somebody said, what skill set an engineer brings? I hope that this answers your question as well.
Yeah, yes, sir. Thank you.
Then somebody said, I have been in NTPC since 2016. I have left. I didn't have time for anything. I have left my hobby blank. That's not normal. So it's unlikely that you would not have any hobby. I mean, I'm sure something which you must be enjoying. I mean, I don't know, how can you say that I don't have a hobby? I mean, you might be, so sometimes it can be perceived as avoiding to get grilled on a specific area which you mentioned. So, I mean, if that is the intention, it's not good. And if genuinely you don't have a hobby, that's very hard. I mean, I'm sure there is some activity which you're involved. You might be enjoying sitting on a riverbank for a long time. You might be enjoying just reading a Hindi novel or your whatever your mother tongue novel, you might enjoy just Shastri Sangeet. I don't know. I mean, or Gita, for example, somebody said that they enjoy Gita. So it's hard to say that. So would you like to elaborate on what you meant by that question?
Yes,
someone
sir.
who was working in NTPC, I think they asked.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, actually, I meant that I'm not able to pursue anything on regular basis. Whenever I get time, I watch web series or something like that. But I cannot say that it is my hobby.
नहीं तो कुछ तो करते होगे यार, खाली समय में क्या करते हो? मतलब वेब सीरीज ही देखते रहते हो? I mean something which, I mean खेलते होगे, कुछ गाना सुनते होगे, कुछ वाइल्ड लाइफ देखते होगे, कुछ फोटोग्राफी करते होगे. I don't know, something you must be doing, I'm sure.
सर रियलिटी में कुछ नहीं करता, मतलब अगर फ्री हुआ तो वेब सीरीज देखता हूँ. तो सर 9 आवर्स का वर्क है, उसके बाद में फिर पढ़ना भी रहता है सर, टाइम ही नहीं मिलता है, क्या करें?
अरे इतवार और सोमवार को, रविवार और शनिवार और रविवार को क्या करते हैं?
सर मैं इंडस्ट्री में हूँ तो सर यहाँ पे शिफ्ट ड्यूटी चलती है, तो सैटरडे संडे नहीं होता इसमें एज सच. इसमें सिर्फ वीकली ऑफ होता है.
तो ये तो मतलब बड़ा चैलेंज है आपके लिए. आई थिंक यू विल हैव टू देन जस्टिफाई दैट व्हाई आई कांट हैव अ हॉबी. सो देन यू बी वेरी केयरफुल एंड आई मीन सो बी वेरी कॉन्फिडेंट एंड आंसर दैट क्वेश्चन कि हम तो ऐसे शिफ्ट ड्यूटी में हैं कि हॉबी साहब कहाँ परस्यूट कर सकते हैं. तो रात भर हमारा खदान में निकल जाता है, सुबह थक के आते हैं. आई नीड टू स्लीप. So but yeah, it's an unusual case for sure. So I don't know if Santosh ji has something to add to that, but
watching web series means डाला जा सकता है या फिर web series?
Yeah, I mean, see, the idea is, let me tell you, I mean, hobby is something which basically they want to ask a few questions on. Okay, तो listening to music and web series तो ठीक है, मतलब तो फिर then कुछ थोड़ा उसका ज्ञान भी होना चाहिए. तो वेब सीरीज पे जाओगे तो अच्छा है, it's a good thing. Then the whole debate on OTT versus main cinema, how COVID has changed the perception. See, another thing in that short note I have given is actually a good amount of your interview is actually directed by you. I don't know if you realize that. Those who realize that can actually direct it in a way where they want it to go. It's not under your control fully, but almost 60 to 70% of the interview, if you are smart, you can actually drive it in the direction you want. So you put web series, and naturally the questions will immediately OTT versus main cinema, Bollywood versus South cinema. You know, कौन सी मूवी अभी आई है? क्या है? अंकारा क्या है? जो भी है. अंतरा. हाँ, the Antara versus you know. So you can actually then open up a whole new door of. So interview is like जैसे पहले पता नहीं आप लोगों ने वीडियो गेम खेले हैं कि नहीं खेले हैं. जब शुरू में विंडोज आया था तो बहुत बड़ा, मतलब पहले डॉस हुआ करता था. सो डॉस से फिर विंडोज आया, तो विंडोज आने के बाद बहुत बड़ा चेंज ये आया कि मल्टी थ्रेड. फिर वीडियो गेम्स वर बिग थिंग. आई डोंट नो, हैव यू हर्ड ऑफ अ वर्ड कॉल्ड डूम? देयर वाज अ गेम कॉल्ड डूम, और इट वाज सो एडिक्टिव, and it was like you go into a corridor and there are like 10 different doors, and every door you open there is a monster there which will try to kill you. So the interview is more like that game. I mean, not in a monster who's trying to kill you, but in the sense that you choose which doors to open based on your answers. So if you answer about computer science, cyber security, ransom, आपने अभी एम्स का एग्जांपल ले लीजिए कि हमारा है, so immediately the whole interview will turn towards cyber security. They'll start asking what is NCI, what is that? NCIICP, I think, National Critical Infrastructure Information Security something, huh?
Yes.
The National Critical Information Infrastructure Protection Center.
Protection Center, exactly. So so if you are good in that area, you can just give that example, and 60 to 70% times, I mean, not all the times, but 60 to 70% of the times, interview can get directed in that direction. And if you are good, then you can make a great impression on that and come out. So it's like that. You enter a room, there are multiple doors around you. One door you open, then you go into another room, which is again multiple doors. So depending on what you answer, the interview kind of moves in that direction. As I said, not all the time, but almost 60 to 70% of the times, depending on your answer, the interview will move. So that's something which you want to understand. And that's written in that 4-pager or 3-pager, whatever you have. So that's why I said, please read it very, very carefully. So एक तो hobby वाला हो गया, then skill set हो गया, NTPC वाला हो गया. Okay, somebody said Punjabi literature. I mean, why have I chosen Punjabi literature? You need to tell me, why have you chosen Punjabi literature? What is the truth? And actually, let me tell you another thing. The closer to the truth you are, the better your answers will be, and it will be easy for you to defend. Now, sometimes, वो एक अपने संस्कृत में कहा गया ना, सत्यम ब्रूयात प्रियम ब्रूयात न ब्रूयात सत्यम अप्रियम प्रियम च नानृतम ब्रूयात एषः धर्म सनातना. और वो बिल्कुल इंटरव्यू के लिए पूरी तरह से वो लागू होता है. सत्यम ब्रूयात, सच बोलो, प्रियम ब्रूयात, प्रिय बोलो, माने सेंसिबल. यहाँ पे प्रिय का मतलब वो नहीं है कि मतलब आप उनकी तारीफ थोड़ी करने जा रहे हो. मतलब प्रियम ब्रूयात यहाँ पे उसका सेंस ये है कि speak which makes sense, right? Tell the truth, and truth in a way which makes sense, right? Satyam bruyat, priyam cha nanritam bruyat. Don't lie to suit your condition. मतलब आप, मैंने पंजाबी लिटरेचर क्यों लिया? क्योंकि if the truth is कि भाई बहुत आसान था, स्कोरिंग अच्छी होती थी, इसलिए ले लिया. So obviously you can't give that answer. So satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat. So it is apriya truth. I mean, this is not an acceptable truth, right? So don't give that example. But you can't even lie. I took Punjabi literature because I am fascinated by it. So if it is a lie, you will get caught. But if you are genuinely fascinated by it, even though you might have taken it because it is a good scoring subject, you can actually give a very convincing answer. Gursimrat, I think I remember your name.
Yes, sir.
ये answer आपको समझ में आया?
Yes, my reason for choosing Punjabi literature was, sir, I am interested and I like to read about my mother tongue and the authors about Punjabi. Also,
That's
I was well versed with Sikh literature.
That's a fantastic answer.
Also, I'm well versed with Sikh literature because I belong to a religious family, and 70% of the syllabus is Sikh literature as well. So that is very fulfilling as well for me.
That's a perfect example. So it is truth also, and it is priyam also. So satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat.
Okay.
So there is no issue there, right? The
also,
problem
sir,
is when you have chosen a subject which you have chosen because you thought it is a scoring subject, then you have to figure out a sort of way to answer that.
Yes. Also, sir, if they Indian Police Service is my first preference. If they specifically ask why IPS over IAS or why IPS is the first preference, so the true answer is I am passionate about uniform services and policing as a discipline. So how to answer that in a refined manner or a better manner?
Yeah, so I think so. This is interesting because one of my batchmates, I was just talking to him. So he said कि मैं interview देने गया और that fellow had also filled up IPS as a first choice, and उसको 15 मिनट में इंटरव्यू में बाहर कर दिया. They just sent him out. So he was like,
last interview में. लास्ट इंटरव्यू में सर मेरे साथ यही हुआ है. फिर 20 मिनट्स में बाहर एंड 149
उसको बाहर कर दिया. तो he's of course with Delhi police now. He's a very senior officer. He's almost ADG rank now. So he was telling मेरे को बाहर कर दिया. अब वहां पे एक टकला बैठा हुआ था वहां इंटरव्यू बोर्ड में. तो मेरे समझ में नहीं आया कि ये भाई साहब हैं कौन. मैं somewhere I thought I saw him. तो उन्होंने बस यही पूछा कि IPS क्यों. तो उन्होंने कहा कि I mean why are you why have you filled IPS? नहीं, उन्होंने पूछा कि आप IAS क्यों बनना चाहते हैं. तो this guy said, IAS? I want to become an IPS officer. So that the chair lady was the chairperson. She signaled to this gentleman saying that the candidate is yours, and that gentleman said, Why do you want to? He said, अच्छा ये बताओ कि आपका वही situational एक question डाला उन्होंने कि आपके मंत्री जी ने ऐसा कहा है तो आप क्या करोगे? So obviously, I mean, these situational questions are just to sort of, test you. I think I don't even know why we even think कि इसमें कोई और आंसर हो सकता है. There is a very clear cut answer कि law is same for everyone. मंत्री जी हो चाहे न मंत्री जी हो, चाहे वो मंत्री जी का भाई हो, चाहे जिसका भी भाई, right? I mean, I think,
Yes,
and that's there is no dispute or even debate on that point. So I think.
So how to answer this in a better way, like they get convinced?
So I mean, he was kicked out in 15 minutes, and after this question, and then he got, I think, some 225 those times in 3 out of 300, and later on he found out that gentleman was Mr. Ribeiro, who was a famous DGP and all that. So I think again I'll quote that, and I'll please keep that in mind. Satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat, na bruyat satyam apriyam, priyam chananritam bruyat, Isha dharma sanatana. Please follow this Sanatan dharma, you will be all right.
So I shall just convey that I am passionate about policing as a discipline and uniform service. Police uniform.
Probably, I mean, what if you have a genuine, I mean, if you have been carried away by, you can arrest anyone and, this thing, and that's why you have filled it up, probably that's not the right answer to give. But if you have genuinely felt that discipline, uniform is what I like, and it should be evident from some of the activities you already do.
Also, sir, I'm a national level basketball player, so I like challenging jobs.
You are disciplined. I mean, a player cannot be indisciplined. I mean, player has to be very, very disciplined. So it kind of aligns with you. So I think there is.
We can say that also being a sports person, I like.
You like discipline. You like things clear cut and dried, and you like to, lead a life of discipline. And I get fascinated by uniformed forces, and that's why I have filled it up as my choice. And I think there is nothing wrong with that. You need good people in IPS. Who said you don't need good people in IPS?
Yes, sir. Right.
So that's one. Then you have situational questions. I've told you again, right? I think some people ask. So there is a very straightforward, clear answer. Law is uniform. It's for everyone. And it doesn't matter who it is, what pressure they are putting. I think that there shouldn't be even a thought on this. Then you said, I talked about current events and current affairs, views on, somebody said marital rape. So I basically changed that to so you are expected to know everything which is happening in the country right now, and good or bad thing is that a lot of things are happening in the country right now, so you will have to read up a lot, and good lot of exciting things are happening, so I think good amount of reading. Somebody said Bhagavad Gita, how do I write it as a hobby? You can definitely write it as a hobby. As I said, again, follow the same dharma. I said, Satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat. Don't lie. If you really love reading Bhagavad Gita, please do mention that as your hobby. I think it's again, think from interview board's perspective. Okay. If you were sitting in the board and you have 50, whatever, in a day, how many they interview? About 15, 20? How many candidates they interview? Probably 15 candidates, 20 candidates, or somewhere between 10 to 20 candidates,
40,
right?
25,
30, great.
25 to 30.
By the time you are after 5 candidates, you have lost all your interest. Everybody's resume is same. Hobby engineer from one college, wanting to become an IAS, wants to change the country. Hobby, listening to music, traveling. They're bored. If your resume, if your DAF can provide a bit of a different flavor, they'll be happy. It's like, रोज वही खाना खा के सभी लोग बोर हो जाते हैं, उनको तो सुबह से शाम तक वही खाना परोसा जाता है. So if you have a hobby called Bhagavad Gita, that can be a great differentiator in that entire 30 people box, because that's a very rare hobby. But then it should be a genuine hobby. You should I mean, if it's a genuine hobby, I don't see any problems in you answering their questions. भाई भगवत गीता के भाष्य और टिप्पणी जो मतलब अब उसमें तो हजारों भाष्य लिखे गए हैं, सारे भाष्य आपको थोड़ी ना पता होंगे. I mean, that's not expected either, unless you have graduated from Sanskrit College of Banaras. If you have that background, then you are expected to know. But otherwise, अगर आप पढ़ते हैं तो I mean, the first question I'll ask, अच्छा बताइए कि कितने अध्याय हैं, कितने श्लोक हैं, कर्म योग कौन सा अध्याय है, आपका जो आपका सबसे पसंदीदा, जो आपका सबसे प्रिय श्लोक हो वो सुना दीजिए, क्यों आपका प्रिय श्लोक है वो बता दीजिए. अच्छा, क्या कितने श्लोक आपको याद हैं? I think basics, right? Who asked this question? Bhagavad Gita wala?
Sir, it was me. I got the answer, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
तो मेरे ख्याल से मैंने सारे क्वेश्चन आंसर कर दिए हैं. अगर किसी के ना आंसर हुए हो, ना अभी बताए हो, तो फिर आप पूछ लीजिए. I'll try to the best of my knowledge, I have kind of answered all the questions. इसके अलावा किसी के हों तो बात कर सकते हैं. और सुकृति जी, your call if you want more questions to be taken up.
I think we have candidates here who have given multiple interview. Preksha, I could see here. Amit is here. And of course, Gursimrat. Kritika is here. Kritika, you don't have any question? Mishra, Kritika Mishra. Amit has asked. Preksha was here. So I think we're done with the questions. Prakhara has one question. And
Ma'am, I have one question.
Okay. Prakhar or anybody else?
Sir, Rishabh.
Yes, ma'am.
Rishabh. Okay, first Rishabh, you asked, and then Prakhar, you asked the question. Is that okay, sir?
Yeah, fine.
Sir, ये मैं 2017 से प्रिपरेशन कर रहा हूँ, मतलब ग्रेजुएशन के बाद से. तो ये 4th अटेम्प्ट है. तो कई बार क्वेश्चन आता है कि आप ग्रेजुएशन के बाद बस प्रिपेयर कर रहे हैं, इसके अलावा क्या कर रहे हैं, तो इसको कैसे आंसर करना है. और दूसरा ये कि कभी कभी कुछ क्वेश्चन आता है, हम लोग कभी कभी मतलब अनफॉर्चुनेटली कुछ गलत फैक्ट दे देते हैं और वो रिकग्नाइज कर जाता है इंटरव्यूअर के द्वारा. तो उसको कैसे मैनेज करें उस सिचुएशन को?
तो मैनेज क्या करना है भाई, अगर गलत बोल गए तो उसको आप क्षमा मांगते हुए क्या है, रॉन्ग, खत्म हो गई बात. इनफैक्ट पहली चीज तो अगेन मैंने पहला जो आपको सूत्र बताया ना, उसको ध्यान रखिए. सत्यम ब्रूयात प्रियम ब्रूयात, न ब्रूयात सत्यम अप्रियम, प्रियम च नानृतम ब्रूयात, एषा धर्म सनातना. सत्य बोलो, सेंसिबल बोलो. यहाँ पे प्रिय का मतलब सेंसिबल है. सत्यम ब्रूयात, प्रियम ब्रूयात, प्रियम च नानृतम ब्रूयात, जो सेंसिबल है लेकिन झूठ है वो मत बोलो, है ना. इतना अगर आप कर लोगे तो आई थिंक यू विल बी ऑल फाइन. तो वो अगर कोई गलती, एंड समटाइम्स यू मेक अ मिस्टेक नॉट बिकॉज यू वांटेड टू लाई, बट हो गया, so you just say that, I mean, admit, there is no point in arguing. Again, वो 4 पन्ने ध्यान से पढ़ लेना, उसमें वो तुम्हें कोई आइडियोलॉजिकल स्कोरिंग नहीं करनी है. वहां पे उनसे कोई बहस में, वाद विवाद में जीत के नहीं आना है. There is no point in wasting your energy on those things. आपकी अगर आपने कोई उत्तर देने में आपसे कोई त्रुटि हो गई है तो it's best to just admit and close कि गलती हो गई है. I know I made a mistake, I was wrong, and apologies for that. Also, if you don't know answer to some question, some number, some fact, it's best to say कि sorry, I don't know.
Okay, sir.
Or if you want to take a guess, then you say I don't know. If I'm allowed to make a intelligent guess, I will try to.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good evening, sir. Sir, I just asked you that recently I've taken up a job after the mains. So in case they ask me, were you not confident enough that you will be appearing for the interview? Should I just state your principle that why I wanted to take up this job? My main
Actually,
reason.
if you get your answer from the truth, that is the best answer. So what is the truth?
So the basic truth is that I was looking at some financial confidence. So that was one of the biggest reasons.
It's a valid answer, very valid answer. You say that preparing for 3 years, I have drained myself out financially and I needed to get some support financially, and perfectly valid answer.
Yeah, that is the main purpose, frankly.
That's it. That's a good answer.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
I think Prakhar has the question.
Kalyan.
Kalyan has.
Yes,
Sanchit has.
सर मैं अभी रिसेंटली यूपीपीसीएस से डिप्टी कलेक्टर की पोस्ट पे सिलेक्ट हुआ हूँ, तो मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि डैफ 2 में जो सर्विसेज की प्रेफरेंस डालनी होगी तो उसमें कौन कौन सी सर्विसेज हैं जिसको ऑप्ट किया जा सकता है अगर मैं उधर डिप्टी कलेक्टर हूँ तो?
What's the truth?
सर मोस्टली मैं एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन में ही रहना चाहता हूँ क्योंकि जॉब तो मैं ऑलरेडी कर ही रहा था, मतलब ग्रुप ए की, तो
stick to the truth.
तो सर सिर्फ आईएएस डालना सही रहेगा, मींस ज्यादा क्वेश्चनिंग करें?
I mean, you're not interested in any other service?
आईएएस आईपीएस चलेगा, उसके बाद नॉट इंटरेस्टेड.
Oh God. So then you should have a real justification for that. So it could become a very, very positive point for you, and it could actually tank your interview to unimaginable levels. Because there is the truth seems to be little not what you're saying. I want to stay in administration.
The reason तो वही है, means
it's not an acceptable reason.
तो मींस अगर ऑप्ट करना है तो और कौन सी सर्विसेज हैं जो बेटर होंगी? मींस अभी मुझे ज्यादा आइडिया नहीं है उधर का.
भाई डिप्टी कलेक्टर से तो सारी सर्विसेज अच्छी हैं. I mean, that's how I will perceive it in terms of response. Why are you coming to civil services? Let's answer that. If you know why are you coming to civil services, then you should be able to judge which one is giving me what. So that why, if it is about some other things, then you will get confused. If it is not about some other things, you will not get confused.
सर जो एक्सपीरियंस मेरा रहा है अभी वर्किंग का एनटीपीसी में भी, उसके अकॉर्डिंग सर मुझे फील्ड वर्क ज्यादा प्रेफर करता हूँ एज कम्पेयर टू ऑफिस वर्क. तो सर फील्ड वर्क वाले ज्यादा उसमें सिविल सर्विसेज में और कोई ऑप्शन ज्यादा है नहीं अपार्ट फ्रॉम आईएएस आईपीएस.
आप ये इसके लिए इंडिविजुअली कांटेक्ट करिए संकल्प को, है ना? ये I mean, if you are just saying that deputy collector versus IAS and IPS, there is something which needs to be discussed a little more.
Okay, sir.
Sanchit.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, I have 2 questions. One is related to this only. My friend here asked about deputy collector here, but I may have missed like your answer because my phone got disconnected. I am, sir, like my question is IAS over IRS IT. So I've already gotten the service, and why am I opting for this service again? I'm wasting a seat. I'm wasting some time of mine. I've missed my foundation course, etc.
वो सब कहानी है यार. अगर ऐसा इतना बड़ा मिसिंग होता गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया को, तो दे वुड हैव बैंड यू फ्रॉम अपीयरिंग अगेन. इफ यू गेट अ फॉरेन सर्विस, यू कैन नॉट अपीयर इन द एग्जाम अगेन.
यस सर.
So if IRS के बाद आपको wastage होता, if that was a well thought reason, government of India would have thought, then they would have banned it. Since they are allowing you, you are trying to improve. And yes, obviously, there is a marked difference between IRS and IAS in terms of responsibility, in terms of visibility, and all the other things.
Okay, sir.
So there's no, you don't have to be defensive about it. You have to be polite and confident that why are you doing this? Again, go back to the reason why are you joining civil services.
Yes, sir.
Then again follow that, and then follow the fundamental principle Satyam Bruyat Priyam Bruyat.
Yes, sir. Sir, my second question is one that I was asked in the interview, actual interview. I felt it was sort of a unique, quirky kind of question. So they asked me that what is what is something in chip manufacturing, a raw material that cannot be purchased by money? So I answered water, because if there's scarcity of water, no matter how much money you have, it's difficult to get it. But what would be your opinion on this question, sir? The answer, possible answer.
What's your background?
Sir, I'm electrical engineering from IIT Madras.
I don't know in what sense they asked this question. I really don't know. Because everything costs money in silicon manufacturing.
Yes, sir.
So I don't know the whole context of the conversation. I think maybe manufacturing skill or something. I don't know. I mean, VLSI design, I have no idea. So I would need to understand the whole context and what was happening before that question was fired at you.
Sir, I mean, if you may please let me, like, I'll give the context. So basically, the chip shortages is an issue, is a contemporary issue. So they asked me that why India hasn't been able to manufacture chip and etc. So after that, they asked me that what is a raw material in chip manufacturing that cannot be purchased by money.
So, I mean, as you know, there's only one company in the world which manufactures this equipment, right?
Yes, sir.
That's called ASML. Now, ASML is controlled by Western countries. In particular, US has a technology export prohibition. So even if you want to pay the whole price, you can never get sub 20 nanometer node. So I think the new India Semiconductor Mission, which has been announced recently, they have gone on giving a subsidy of about 50% on pari passu basis. The total amount committed by Government of India is 10,000 crores. Initially they had allowed a graded subsidy on 65 nanometer, 42, 45 nanometer and 28 nanometer node. Now they have removed even that barrier. So it's 50% across the board. Karnataka has come out with a 25% subsidy on top of that. Government of Gujarat has brought out a Dholera city, which is designed to attract semiconductor manufacturing. So if this question was in context of technology export prohibition, then that's possibly the answer. Other things, of course, all can be bought through money.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Ritaj have a question.
Sir, good evening, sir. Sir, actually, I have a doubt regarding, sir, filling foreign services over administrative services, sir, and role of, sir, audit and account services vis-a-vis, sir, revenue services, customs and excise. So can
Nobody is
I get
really going to ask you why have you put a audit and account before customs. Nobody is going to ask you whether you have put it below customs. Of course, there's a bit of a distinction between IAS and rest of the services, probably IPS also and foreign service also. Apart from that, they all kind of are similar depending on your interest and orientation. If you have an accounts background and you love maths and number crunching, probably you would be happy in audit and account. If you are one of your traveler types, probably railway will be good for you. The rest of it is all preferential, right? So I think fundamentally between services, you have put audit and account before revenue and revenue before railways. Nobody's going to really ask.
Sir, can I get a brief knowledge about, sir, foreign services, sir? How can I pick, sir, their service profile basically, sir? How is it different from administrative in, sir, broader sense? When I see myself, sir, post, sir, 20 years in the future, sir, how will it be different as compared to administrative?
So foreign and administrative are two different ball games altogether.
Yes,
The
sir.
foreign service, you are a diplomat all your life. You're a career diplomat. You'll be managing India's external relations. We'll be doing all kinds of, partnerships, deals, and all that. IAS is all about grassroots administration, policy, country growth, and all that. At some point of time, when you reach very high, both kind of tend to diffuse, which is normal, right? I mean, so, but initial 20 years are going to be very, very different.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
I think, let me tell you that this is first pre-interview lecture series. Once the result is out and we start with the interview guidance program, Santosh sir would be available, and we'll do all these lectures we have done in in every leg of the program. So I'm sure you would have many more questions, but we have one section of the session remains entirely. So संतोष जी भाई साहब, कैन वी स्टार्ट? शुरू कर सकते हैं? इज इट ओके टू स्टार्ट नाउ? भाई साहब, आपको अनम्यूट करना पड़ेगा.
सुकृति, संतोष मिश्रा जी का लेक्चर कंप्लीट हो गया?
जी भाई साहब, काफी क्वेश्चंस जो पूछे थे वो काफी कुछ कवर हो गया है. और
नहीं, अगर उनके पास टाइम है ना,
हाँ जी,
तो आप उनका कंप्लीट कर लो. मैं फिर कभी ले लूंगा, नो प्रॉब्लम. बिकॉज मैं देख रहा हूँ कि इनकी जो क्वेरीज हैं बहुत ही अच्छे तरीके से आंसर हो रही हैं. और मैं अभी कार में ट्रेवल कर रहा हूँ, तो बार बार इंटरप्शन हो सकता है. तो आप संतोष मिश्रा जी का यदि और टाइम है तो ले लो. और अगर उन्होंने ट्रिक्स एंड ट्रैप्स जो दिए हैं वो अगर एक बार देख लें कि अगर रह गया हो कुछ तो उसमें से कवर कर लें प्लीज.
संतोष सर, योर कॉल नाउ. सर, आपको अनम्यूट करना पड़ेगा.
मैं म्यूट करूं?
हाँ सर, हाँ भाई साहब, आप म्यूट कर लीजिए. संतोष सर, इट्स योर कॉल, आई थिंक.
हाँ, सो आई थिंक एक बार इन लोगों को वो पढ़ लेने दीजिए. पढ़ने के बाद
जी,
I think you guys should read it once, and then if you have questions, then maybe in the next session we can take it up. It's been already, I think, almost 1 hour 20 minutes.
I think sir, भाई sir, दो last question ले लेते हैं. Gursimrat, you have already asked questions, so there are two new candidates who want to ask. One is Zoom user and one is Motorola. So I don't know. I think Zoom user could go first.
Yes. Sorry, ma'am, I forgot to change my name.
That's okay. Okay.
Sir, I have a question, like what to answer when... Sir, I am Siddharth. Good evening. Sir, I have a question, like what to answer if they ask me about my weaknesses. Should it be a skill-based weakness or a personality-based weakness? And how many weaknesses should we ideally be telling if they ask us, like tell your 5 weaknesses?
Satyam bruyat, priyam chinanratam bruyat. I am lazy. Can you tell this weakness?
No, sir.
There you have the answer. So you might be lazy, but obviously you can't share that.
Yes, sir.
So it has to be close to the truth, but a truth which is sensible. Something which you are working on, improving in yourself.
Yes, sir.
We all are continuously trying to improve ourselves. Some people are not doing jogging or are rigorous in exercise, and they might have just started doing that. So that's a weakness, that I have not been rigorous. I have not been able to follow a routine. Trying to do that. That's a good exercise. Good weakness to share, which is truth also, because you are trying to do that. Right? So again, follow that dharma, follow that Sanatan dharma of truth and sticking close to the truth, you will do very well.
And sir, 1-2 weaknesses are enough, or we should tell 3, 4, 5 weaknesses if they ask?
Again, I think it's not really a session where they are wanting to, you know, grill you why this centimeter and this millimeter and all that. They are just wanting to see how you respond to the questions. So once you start right way, I think their interest in the question drops.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So 1 or 2 weaknesses are good enough. Nobody's going to ask, list your top 10 weaknesses and top 10 strengths. You're not that important. You're not that important. So let's disabuse ourselves of that notion.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, Motorola, please ask your question.
Hello, sir. Good evening. My name is Bhuvan, and this is my 5th attempt of no service. So I have basically I have 3 questions, sir. So the first one is with regards to this is a new service. It's called the Indian Railway Management Service, and there's very little available in the public domain about it. All that we know about it is, you know, it's a merger of engineering services and IRTS, accounts, etc. So going forward, we really do not have any ideas to how will the career prospect in that service shape up. If you can throw just a bit of light on that, just a tiny bit of light on that, it will be great, so that we can have an idea as to, you know, relatively where to put it in the service preferences. Second question is, sir, I've got a job in the Ministry of Home Affairs. So again, I graduated in 2018 December, and 2 years after that I did my master's in international relations. But I did not work. I have no work experience at all. So is it preferable that before the interview I should go and join? Because the joining date is in January, right? So somewhere mid-January. So is it preferable that before the interview I should go and join? Just for the sake, you know, that the CV becomes a little more interesting, and they ask me more questions about that, because as you said, that we can also direct the interview. So to give interview a little more certainty, a little more predictability, is that advisable? So these are the questions, sir.
So first of all, I think they don't give a damn one way or the other. Sorry to be very blunt. Whether you join the service or not join the service, that's least they are bothered about. If you have a good reason to join, please join. If you don't have a good reason, if you have a good reason not to join, please do not join. Either way, it's fine. By joining, you're not going to make your CV very interesting. So it's completely up to you. As I said, if you think that there's for your personal reasons or for whatever reasons you are going to join, please do join. If you have good reasons saying that is going to distract me from studies and I don't want to join, that's perfectly fine either. But if you don't join and if there is an answer, you should be able to give question. If there's a question, you should be able to give an answer. If you join and if there's a question, then also you should be able to give. So that's one. Secondly, about Railway Management Service, little is known at this point of time, but what is understood is that at the top, they are all going to join together. So the new service entrants will be, of course, the top cadre of railways. I think that much is for sure. And you will be the leaders for the railways department. So apart from that, how will they merge the existing cadre and what they will do? I think that's not even clear to the service officers even at this point of time. So what is certain is that this is going to be the leadership role in Indian Railways.
All right, so thank you, sir.
Right. So I think if with that, I think we would like to close. It's already 5:30. So, and do read that handout. And if you have questions on that, then we can maybe take another session later after the results are out.
So from where we get that handout? Online?
I will send it to you via email. I have your email IDs. So the tricks and traps prepared by sir, I'll send it to you via email. And of course, any questions you have, and hopefully all of you get into interviews. So once again, we can organize this kind of sessions once you are into that full momentum of preparation. It's पता नहीं संतोष जी को थैंक्स करूं कि नहीं करूं, बिकॉज अपने ही हमारे परिवार के बड़े हैं वो, और वर्षों से संकल्प से जुड़े हुए हैं, जब से उनका खुद का सिलेक्शन हुआ था तब से।
उसके
तो
पहले
बट स्टिल उसके पहले से सो लेकिन जो औपचारिकता है उसको पूरी करने के लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। इट वाज सच अ इनविगोरेटिंग सेशन। आई थिंक all of us, coordinating also I've learned a lot. I'm sure student की queries तो quell हुई ही होंगी, and I think we are fortunate enough to have your time and would like to have more of that. So thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Sukriti ji. Thank you, and wish you all the best, and hope to see many of you make it to the next round.
जी, okay. So एक बार once again संतोष जी, क्या हम शुरू करेंगे आपका सेशन? भाई साहब अनम्यूट करेंगे।
हाँ सुकृति
जी भाई साहब।
मैं कोशिश करता हूँ, मैं इस समय रोड पर हूँ
जी जी।
तो अगर बीच में कुछ इंटरप्शन आने लगे तो फिर हमें क्लोज करना पड़ेगा, है ना? तो अभी मैं
ठीक है भाई साहब,
चलिए स्टार्ट करता हूँ, है ना?
भाई साहब परिचय तो करा दो। वैसे तो परिचय नहीं, बट सेशन का संतोष जी भाई साहब का परिचय कराना मेरा सौभाग्य भी है। वैसे तो आप लोग सब जानते ही हैं, लेकिन एक ब्रीफ परिचय उनके करियर का। ही इज एन सिविल इंजीनियर फ्रॉम थापर इंस्टीट्यूट। ही सुपरएन्युएटेड एज अ चीफ इंजीनियर फ्रॉम हटको हरियाणा अर्बन डेवलपमेंट कॉर्पोरेशन। किंतु संकल्प का जो आज ये वटवृक्ष हम देखते हैं, बीज से और यहाँ तक पहुंचने की जर्नी, संतोष जी भाई साहब ने उसको सींचा है और हम सब कभी ना कभी उसके पार्ट रहे हैं, इंक्लूडिंग आज संतोष मिश्रा सर हमारे साथ हैं, मैं खुद, आप लोग सब। और लगभग 36 साल की जर्नी में कितने ही कैंडिडेट्स को भाई साहब ने मेंटर किया है, और संकल्प जो आज निरंतर बढ़ता जा रहा है अपने काम पे, आज इस जहाँ पहुंचा है, भाई साहब ही उसके समाये रहे हैं। सो आई थिंक एक जो 1-on-1 सेशन इंटरव्यू का होता है डेप्थ डिस्कशन का, उसका पहला चरण है आज हाउ टू प्रिपेयर योर डेप्थ। सो आई थिंक वी कैन स्टार्ट विद द सेशन भाई साहब नाउ।
Many congratulations to all of you for clearing this mains exam, which is really a very difficult one, and I hope most of you should be able to make it with the grace of God and with the blessings of your elders. So now, few things I would like to mention. First of all, see, I'm not sure whether Santosh Mishra ji told this or not. Sukriti, did he introduce that about that tricks and traps or whatever we tell in the beginning, so that I don't repeat?
We spoke a little bit, but आप बता दीजिए एक बार सर।
Okay, first thing what I really want to make clear to you is this is a test of personality. It is not a test of knowledge, but to know one's personality, one has to talk on few things which are in one's background, which one is expected to know, and where he can be tested, that whether he knows how to analyze, how to conclude, and does he have confidence, is he truthful, is he honest. So all these aspects of personality one has to know by talking and interacting. And please keep in mind that this is not a debate. This is purely a discussion. And we should be very confident and very honest while talking to them. And also bear in mind that they want you to have more and more marks, not that they want to deduct more and more marks. So be very positive towards the board. Board members are generally quite enlightened persons. they have quite good knowledge, and also the questions that they ask you, they are sure that they know it. So never and never try to bluff them. Never get into this risk, because for this risk you may have to pay much more than you can gain. So these are few things. And secondly, they are more interested to know your real inside personality. They are less interested to know how do you wear, what do you wear, how much polished are you, and whether your accent is of Northeast or your accent is of Tamil Nadu or it is accent of UP. They are not much concerned at all. They are only concerned that what is your personality and what is the suitability of your personality towards these civil services, because each one of you wants to become IAS, and IAS means the highest and the most challenging work you want to have in your career. So please keep in mind that now I'll make it further clear. Every Monday, chairman of UPSC invites all the members, means all the 6-7 board chairpersons and 4 advisors from each board, because the board consists of 5 members. So all of them are invited together, and then he tells them every Monday, because these advisors normally get changed after the week. So next week, new advisors are there. So he has to give them some briefing. And there he clearly tells that this is not test of knowledge, this is test of personality. Please ask such questions. Please interview the candidate from this particular viewpoint. So I would say be fearless, be quite pleased to go to the board, and like if you enter the board, just you can imagine yourself. If you have a smile on your face, what does it indicate? It indicates that you are confident. So I would suggest that before entering the board, because you have to wait for
I think myself is not audible.
so much of labor, you are struggling for 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, or even more than 5.
It's not audible to me properly. Is it audible to everybody? Myself is?
No, ma'am, not audible.
Myself, I think we can, because I think this would be a incurring problem. So can we stop this session and reschedule it? भाई साहब आपकी आवाज कट रही है, नहीं आ रही है. नहीं भाई साहब ब्रेक हो रही है, वॉइस ब्रेक हो रही है.
I would prefer that we do it again, क्योंकि मैं सड़क पर हूँ और I can't improve it now.
Reschedule कर लेते हैं.
I'm sorry to all of you. Please, we'll try to find another opportunity. सुकृति इनको इतना बता दो कि जब ये इश्यूड कर लियो और 1-to-1 जब हम डिस्कस करेंगे तो इनके सारे क्वेश्चंस को टैकल कर लेंगे. Right?
Done. Okay, so I think we can stop this session right now. हाँ, ठीक है भाई साहब, ठीक है, ठीक है. So we'll reschedule this. How to prepare your TAF and related queries. Okay, okay. And all of your questions regarding DAP would be answered. You would have a session one-on-one DAP with Santosh Mishra. We can do it. You can do it. And अगर समय मिला, result नहीं आया कल परसों तक, तो we can reschedule this session as well, not an issue. So I think we'll conclude this session today. I think Santosh Mishra sir has left. So thank you all of you, and sorry for the interruption. And do hope to see you in interview guidance program personally also. We would be starting our interview guidance program this year. Offline center would be Sanatan Dharma Mandir, Shankar Road. So I'll put, if any of you have my number or Rajuji's number, we'll send you the location as well. It's near Rajendra Nagar. And of course, we'll be putting it on our website as well. And hopefully, we'll get to see all of you in the interview guidance program. Any query or something, you can ask me anytime, or you can mail us on the address through which we are mailing you. If you want to note down my number, you can note down my number. 7240. I'll just put it on the chat, so it will be visible. And I'm putting Rajuji's number as well. Raju Chauhanji's number as well.
Ma'am, I think you don't have my email ID actually.
Can you send? I've just posted my number, and can you send me your right email ID and I'll send you.
Okay, ma'am.
I'll add you. But bounce नहीं हुआ है कृतिका का, मुझे इसलिए याद है because daily कृतिका जी का bounce हो रहा था. ये जो 540 है ये मेरा नंबर है, पीछे 296 है राजू चौहान जी का नंबर है. If you have any query related to interview guidance, do call us. And thank you so much. And sorry again to curtailing this session like this because Bhai Sahab is traveling, so we can't हम continue नहीं कर सकते थे इस session. So thank you so much all of you, and all the best.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.